Alrighty then, so we got a little meat haul here on the coast of South Carolina. It's getting difficult to find ground beef, breasts, whether they're boneless or skinless, or chicken thighs in the bone. So what we do is we keep a list of what we need. And at the bottom is when there is a sale so that we can keep up with our home canned goods. I choose to freeze in food saver bags any chicken thighs with bone and skin. So they didn't have that. And Vern does the shopping because he knows the pre-2020 prices, and these were a good deal. And because I have a Presto canner and I can hold 8 pints, because we're 2 adults, we tend to can meats in pints just because we're feeding 2. So I'm gonna have enough to get a canner of some ground beef and some chicken. So it's just gonna be raw pack on the chicken, but with the ground beef, as we know, to can them to USDA standards, I need to add either tomato juice or water or beef broth. And because I can my own broths or stocks, I have plenty of that on hand. And you can usually get just a little bit over a pound in a pint jar. So I may not have a full canner, but I do like when I can put a load with different items that process, in my case, 1-inch headspace, 75 minutes in my Presto pressure canner. So that's what I'm doing. So I've talked about inflation proofing your pantry, and this is one example. Because we had plenty of chicken canned or frozen, we had plenty of ground beef canned or frozen through the 2020 nightmare. We did not have to, when even ground beef had gone to $8.50 and $9.50 a pound, we did not have to purchase that. We just had to more carefully manage our food storage so that each time Vern would go to the store, okay, and that's his jam. He's very good at remembering the prices. I used to have to use a little book and stuff. You know, where you divide and conquer what one's strengths and weaknesses are. So for us, this was a very good sale. So I've put aside 1.5 pounds for my meatloaf tonight. And what I'll do is I will get this browning in that skillet, and these were excellent prices, to where this also did not strain our weekly or every 2 week or monthly budget. So you may think, oh Lord, I'd love to have some beef tacos, but you don't have that much in meat. And that is something we love to do with our canned ground beef. Simply turn that into taco night. Just dump that pint out, put in some of our own taco seasonings. You can buy the envelopes if you want. I make ground beef stroganoff out of my canned ground beef as well. So make sure that you can things that you know how to make recipes for. It's why so many of us on canning channels make food storage meals, right? Our videos on it, how we open a can of chicken, whether it was parboiled or whether it was raw packed or whether it's on the bone, and what we can turn those recipes into. So this will be a nice, affordable thing that we didn't spend too much money on, sitting in some home canned, pressure can jars that we also know is safe, because we're following the USDA safe method to can it, and we're gonna add our beef broth to it. And we have our own beef broth, as I said. So while this is browning and actually cooking in my skillet, I'll start chopping up my chicken into little chunks so that we can raw pack some chicken breast, and it will make its own juice, its own chicken broth, as it always does. And it is a wonderful thing to have in your pantry. So just one big method of inflation proofing your pantry. If you have plenty of these items on hand, when you find them on sale, you don't have to go out and pay the huge prices. And plus in 2020, you couldn't even find it. You know what I mean? There was literally no chicken thighs on the bone. I traded a friend a package of those, and he smoked me a salmon. Yeah, I scored on that one, okay? So, but when you want some chicken on the bone on your grill, you want some chicken and bone on your grill. He couldn't find chicken to do that with. So anyway, let's get started. Too much chitty chat. So here is my broth. We can get you to see it. Jeez. So here is it's just 2 pints. If I need more, I don't think I will. Of course, I'm a home canner, so I come from a place of more. I'll just get another one and warm it up because I'll be adding this to a hot jar that has hot ground beef in it. So let's avoid thermal shock, shall we? Thank you. So I am going to strain this ground beef into this bowl through this very affordable sieve. And I break these all the time. It's a little wonky. And this is gonna let all this excess fat run off. So this is not hard. So here it is, just draining into the bottom of this. And then I will stir this around a little bit, put some in a jar to can it into my pint jar, and then I'll proceed to add more of the cooked ground beef. This ain't hard. Don't say canning's hard, because it ain't. Just takes a little effort and planning. Alrighty then, let's start doing one of our pints. We've gotten an enormous amount of liquid out of this. My jar is hot, and of course it's clean. I felt the rim of it to make sure it doesn't have any chips so that I can get a good seal. I'm only using a metal spoon to transfer it from my sieve. I ain't sticking that in my jar. No sirree, Bob. All right, so let's get our Pokey Joe. We need 1 inch of headspace. We haven't added our liquid yet. We're certainly going to. Oh, it's looking good. Yeah. A little bit more. Let's pour a little bit of our hot beef broth. Let me check my lids. They're good. We're gonna Pokey Joe again because we need to get our headspace right, which is epically important to make sure we've got a safely canned product on our shelf. They don't just arbitrarily pick a number. My jar's warm. I don't want any air bubbles. I don't want no trouble. Pokey Joe, Pokey Joe. The 1 inch is right below the lowest rim. If you want to be hecka accurate, at the bottom of your Pokey Joe, this little stepped part that has your 1/4 inch, your all those up to 1 inch. So it's not hard. So we're gonna wipe our edge of this. We don't want any grease interfering. Hot jar. My fingers are like, oh yeah, we're canning that jar hot. All right, I put a little vinegar on my paper towel because ground beef is greasy. All right, let me get a lid. So here is our lid. Oops. Now we're gonna get our ring, and as most of you know, I use the limp wrist, it works for me. Can't tighten it anymore. There is my 1 jar, and I'll come back when we see how many pints I get of the ground beef. Easy peasy. Storing food. Inflation-proof your pantry. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm just a mouse. So here are my 4 pints of ground beef. It was not ground chuck. And you saw the 2 cups of fat I got off of it that are not in this jar. And I absolutely love canning. I love to watch this just keep processing away. It's amazing. The science is done for us. So Vern got some ground beef at pre-2020 issue prices, was able to buy it, and I canned it up. Nothing like inflation-proofing your pantry with food at the ready in jars. Woot!